Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Aaron Trevino here, and we have a wonderful guest today. We have Mia from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. How you doing, Mia?
Hey, great. Thanks. How are you?
I can't complain. It's been a good day, and I know that we've had this in the works for a little bit, so it's great to see you.
Yeah, great seeing you. And thank you for inviting me to contribute to your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, Mia. So for those of us who aren't too familiar with you, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Mia Reeves. I'm a CPA from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm in Texas. And I'm the owner of Reeves Accounting Services, and we provide accounting and taxes services to business owners and real estate professionals. So I'm happy to be here.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm just curious. Do you live in Dallas, or where? Or do you live in a suburb, or?
Yeah, so I used to have an office in Dallas, but then because of COVID, I just moved to it closed my office and work from home right now, and all my team members are working from home, but hopefully we can get back to the office soon. So I'm in Bedford. It's like 20 miles away from Dallas, not too far away.
Yeah, okay. No, we did a YouTube video a few months back in Bedford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice area, right?
Yeah, no, it is nice. I enjoyed it there. It's pretty. So what's it like kind of being part of a team are you completely remote? Do you even go into the office or?
Yeah, I am. Well, we have how many team members do we have? We have 6 team members right now, including me, and we're all remote. I kind of miss working with people, but not too much anymore because it's really, COVID really it sucks for everybody, but at the same time, we feel like we have more freedom because we don't have to go to the office and everybody has to work on time management, which I think we're getting a lot better. So I don't even know if I'm gonna go to my office again. We'll see what happens.
Okay, that's fair enough. It kind of seems like with accounting, you're pretty flexible with it, right?
Yeah, we're remote. We communicate with clients through emails and phone calls, and we have our secure portal to get clients' files. And so everything could be totally remote. And we have team members from North Carolina and Pennsylvania, and so they can't go to the office anyways. We
Okay.
plan to keep it that way.
Yeah, fair enough. So I'm just curious, what was it about accounting that made did you go to undergrad to study accounting, or how did you get into this profession?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why did I pick accounting? Well, I know that I've always liked business. Ever since I was, I guess, 12, I read the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and also Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you've read the two books, but and I realized I really need to have my own business because that sounds like that's my dream. I don't want to work for anyone, and so back then I was in Vietnam, and so I studied really hard. I picked English as my major, and so when I was 18, I applied for tons of schools in the U.S. I got accepted to Texas Christian University, and just it has a great business school. So yeah, I knew I wanted to do business, and there are lots of major to choose, but I decided to pick accounting because I think accounting is a foundation to having a good business. You have to understand accounting to do anything in the business. And so I just naturally picked accounting. I didn't know I would start my business that soon, but I guess it happened. So this is our 4th year in the business.
Yeah, how about that? I'm just curious, what part of Vietnam are you from?
I'm from the north.
Okay, yeah, very good. I've been to Hanoi.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How long did you stay?
I stayed in Vietnam for 1 year.
1 year?
Yeah,
The north or the south, or which
I lived. Yeah, I lived in Saigon. So a few years back, I taught English in Saigon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I had a few English teachers back then as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's neat. So it's neat that I guess from your childhood, you read the book. You were 12 years old, and what was it about the book that really clicked and said, "Hey, I need to have my own business."
I think back then I don't know if I understood it quite well, but I think it's just a life that for me, freedom means everything. And so I just didn't want anyone to control me. I didn't want to have a boss. And so having a business mean I can do whatever I wanted. And so that's, as a kid, that's what I thought. And then of course, I work really hard. And I think that if you work for someone else, no matter how hard you work, there's a cap in, how much you can earn. And as a business owner, the harder you work, of course, you have to work smart as well, but the harder you work, the more money you can make. And so, freedom, the income potential are really huge motivations for me. I think the third reason is I really want to help people. My parents are doctors and they're saving people's lives every day. I know I don't like to go to medical school and study biology, but having an accounting business and being able to help a lot of people with their finances, their taxes, it's very meaningful to me. And so, I think no matter how much money I make or how much freedom I have, if I don't have a purpose in my business, it doesn't really matter, right? But I do have a goal that I do want to help people, and that's what guides me throughout this whole process.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's great that you're kind of able to define what your purpose is and, be able to go out and do it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you studied TCU.
Uh-huh.
I guess you were in the business school. You knew that did you know specifically you wanted to do accounting, or did you have your eye on something else?
The first 2 years in business school, I was kind of learning everything. I kind of like marketing as well. I liked entrepreneurship, of course, but then it's really hard to get a job as an international student with entrepreneurship major. So I just picked accounting because I got good grades, and I do think that accounting is a foundation to the success of the business. And so, what business? I didn't really think I would start an accounting business, but I just knew I wanted a business. So.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm just curious as well. What does a day to day for Mia look like? What are you taking care of?
For me, like my day-to-day job or
Yes, your day-to-day accounting job. What does being an accountant entail?
yeah, and so it's for me, it's not just being an accountant, it's also being the owner of the business, also doing client service. I'm also collecting payments. I'm also sending mails. I'm doing a lot of different things. It's not just the accounting job. But I would say every day is different. My calendar is always booked pretty full during the day because I have meetings, from probably 9 until 3 or 4. And then I spend the rest of the day working on clients' emails and client work. And so, it's if you look at my calendar, it's always booked full. But majority of the time I spend talking to my team members, talking to my clients, and then I would say a third of the time I spend on doing client-related work.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is maybe the something difficult to deal with as a business owner that maybe you deal with?
As a business owner, I think everything is difficult.
Yeah,
It's everything is
everything.
fun, but it's difficult
Yeah.
because I've never been a business owner before. And
Uh,
even when I went to business school, but it was all about it's just theory, right? And so I need to apply whatever I learned into practice. Plus, I mean, the business school gave me a lot of case studies and things like that. But when you own a business, I feel like my fourth year in my business, but I felt like I have 10 years of experience just because everything the business threw at me and my team as well. So, um, difficult might not be the right word. I would say exciting and challenging. We all like challenges. And so, I just love what I do. I don't think anything's difficult. But of course, one of my mentors told me the bigger your business is, the more problems you encounter. And so I just take it as part of life. Always have to solve problems.
Yep, always have to solve problems, I guess, whether you're an accountant or anything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's gotta
absolutely.
make it fun, right? You always have problem to solve. The bigger problem, um, the more fun it is, I would say.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So I'm just curious, you mentioned how you work with, I guess, all sorts of professionals, real estate
Mm,
professionals.
yeah.
What are you specifically working with a particular type of client, or who are you working with?
Yeah, majority of my clients are in real estate. They I have worked with a lot of realtors and brokers and people that invest in real estate, either in single family, or they're building houses, or they're in construction, or they're investing in multifamily syndication deals. So I also have people that are in the appraiser industry and people that are doing hard money lending. And so I get to see every aspect of the real estate industry, from residential to commercial. It's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm assuming you're seeing, very small, maybe smaller and much larger numbers
Larger
depending on the.
businesses. Mhm. Right. Our client make anywhere from 100,000 to over $3 million in sales annually. And so, yeah, from the smallest to the biggest, not the biggest, but to the middle sized businesses.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it's honestly great to talk about accounting because at least for me, when I was in high school,
Mhm.
my favorite class that I took was accounting, and I mean, I liked the topic, but it was more so the teacher that was inspiring to me. He made accounting, to me look very appealing and important.
I think so too. I got really good accounting teachers. And especially I really love my tax classes because I couldn't imagine people could save so much money by knowing the tax laws, and that kind of contributed to my decision to be in the tax profession.
Sure, absolutely. It kind of seems like anything with taxes or money, people will shy away from it. Let's say someone is starting from the very beginning. How do you even assess your money or even uh, make a game plan?
I would say if someone want to quit their job and start a business, I would say don't do that first unless you have at least 6 months of worth of expenses saved in your bank account. Because for the first few months or even the first year in business, you're not going to make any money. And so it's good to, and I'm not saying that everybody is not going to make any money, but it's kind of hard to be really successful your first year in business. And so have a fund or, 6 months worth of money saved is a good first step. And then after you have the money saved and you have to think about like what's, and I'm just talking from my experience, I don't know about other people's experience, but um, it's time to think about like, hey, what my goals are going to be for the next 6 months or the first year. um, Make a big goal and then break it down into smaller goals and what your daily goals look like and how can you hit your target. Because without a plan, it's just really hard to grow and to move to the next level. But I would say have some money saved in case, just in case. Just don't quit your job. Yeah.
That's right. You need to have something, some sort of cushion financially, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. You made a great point about maybe starting your own business. Do you find that most of your clients are already business owners or people who are quitting their 9 to 5 and transitioning, or what are they mostly?
They're all already business owners. Most of them are, at least 2 or 3 years in their business. So they have some sort of experience already. And so how we can help them is we help them save money and taxes, and then we help them kind of grow their business to the next level. And so I don't think they struggle with the money saving or the basic concept. They just want to scale, and that's where we come in.
Yeah, no, you brought up something interesting is about the money saving. So, it's easy for someone to suggest, spending your way out of a problem, or, on the other end, on the other extreme, saving most of your money.
Mhm.
What do you kind of suggest in terms of just kind of getting a handle on your finances?
I don't like to go too extreme just because I'm an accountant. But I think that don't spend all your money, but don't save too much you can't invest. I would say if you want to, and it depends on what you want to invest in, but whatever you want to invest in, whether it's a course or an equipment for your business or some training or employees, you want to make sure that you calculate the ROI on the investment and have a pretty good kind of model to calculate that. Like, say if you want to hire a full-time employee and you plan to pay the employee $80,000 a year, right? And how much can that employee make you? If the employee cannot make you at least 240,000, so 3 times the money you invest, it's probably not worth it. If you want to spend money on a marketing software, let's say $5,000, and it's gonna run for 6 months, right? So out of that $5,000, how many leads can you get, and how many leads can you close from that investment? And so if you spend $5,000 and you can close $30,000 worth of deal, then I think it's totally worth it. So just don't blindly spend money on something that you don't know what the ROI would be, and it's hard to know. But then if you have a good projection, and that's maybe you need to work with some professionals or have a good coach to help you walk through the decision making process.
Yeah, absolutely. You made a great example about, if I know if an employee is getting paid $80,000 and then you're saying, do you multiply by three to kind of, is that kind of what you go based off of?
For me, there would be the 3 to 5 times. So it's from my own experience. I think other businesses might have different ratio, but I
Yeah.
would say 3 to 5 times would be a good ROI on any investment, in my opinion, of course.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious as well, when a lot of people don't really want to talk about taxes. They know they have to do it. We know tax season is coming up. Maybe what are some kind of maybe misconceptions that people have about taxes?
The misconception, I think people have a pretty good conceptual idea about what taxes are. It's just painful and it's a lot of paperwork. I think people don't like it. I think probably the misconception is I don't need to do taxes because I just don't like it, which I understand the entrepreneur mindset. We're entrepreneurs because we don't want to have to do what we don't want to do. But tax is something, tax and debt, the two things people cannot avoid, right? You have to do it and you have to be in compliance because if you are not, then you're going to have to pay a lot of penalty and interest and you can't sleep at night and you're going to have issues later on. And so I think that even if you don't want to do it, just go ahead and do it. And if you don't want to do it yourself, then hire someone to help you throughout the whole process. Also, something that business owners think that could, they want to do their own taxes or they want to hire someone that's not licensed or someone that's pretty cheap, charge, low price to do their taxes or their business accounting. Something that I've learned throughout this process is you get what you pay for. So if you pay $100 for a tax return, then you get $100 worth of result. And in my experience, I've seen people overpaying over the years hundreds of thousands of dollars because they pay $100 for someone to do their taxes. $100 might be a little low, maybe a few $100s, right? But you
Yeah.
know what I mean. You get what you pay for, so you end up overpaying every year, which is not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the old saying, like you said, you get what you pay for, right?
Mhm. And so don't be cheap when it comes to your life and your business.
Sure, sure, absolutely. When I think taxes, I think real estate. One of the first things I would think of would be, capital gains. So could you explain what capital gains are?
In business, in real estate?
Uh-huh, in real estate.
Most likely capital gain happens when you buy like a property and you sell it. If you sell it within a year, then it's short-term capital gain. If you hold it for longer than a year, then it's long-term capital gain, right? And then short-term capital gain, it's taxed. It's your If you have a gain on sale of a property and it's short-term capital gain, then you are taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. Versus if it's long-term, then it's a lower tax rate. Um, and so people really have a hard time of paying for capital gain tax because they just don't want to pay for it, right? And then wait until year end and then get hit with a huge tax bill, which is why it's important to work with an accountant so the accountant can help you estimate the capital gain tax you have to pay or figure out ways to kind of defer it or get rid of it, which there are ways to do it. Um,
Yeah, you brought up an interesting term as well. You said deferred, to defer it. What does deferred mean in this context?
Meaning you're not paying capital gain taxes now, but you defer it and pay it in the future. And this is I'm referring to a strategy called opportunity zone. So if you have a capital gain, and it doesn't mean you on sale of the real estate or on the stock markets, you can invest the gain on an opportunity zone, and you don't have to pay taxes on the gain now. You can defer it until 2026. And so there are tons of other, I actually did a webinar um, early on about the benefits of investing in opportunity zone funds. And so if you are interested, I can send that to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity zones is, it's kind of I'll kind of see it here and there, but I'd never really had anyone explain exactly what an opportunity zone is.
Yeah, mainly you just defer your capital gain until a later date. And then you can also keep keep the money in that fund, let it grow. You don't pay tax on it. And then you can get the benefit from a step up in basis as well. And so it's really I think it's a really, if you really want to invest in opportunity zone, then I can introduce you to the, people that really are good at operating the funds, because I'm not. The accountant can help you when the tax time comes.
Sure, sure, absolutely. There are a few other accounts, at least in the real estate world, I hear about. You hear about IRAs, you hear about self-directed IRAs, you hear about, if you have an employer, 401k, all these different,
Mhm.
all these different types of accounts. Are there any certain types of accounts that you suggest, or if those people have them, what should they do with them?
It just depends on what they need and the amount of money that they're willing to contribute to the retirement account. And so we have the SEP, we have the simple, we have traditional and Roth, and we have 401k and deferred benefit plans. So we have a lot of different, there are lots of different plans that people can invest in. But I would say if you're starting out, and you're just by yourself, you don't have any employees, and doing a SEP would be, SEP or a simple IRA would be very simple and easy to manage. And then after, or traditional and Roth as well, right? You can do both. And then after you're at a certain level, you have employees, and you can think about creating a 401k for the business. Self-directed IRA is if you want to use your retirement money to invest in real estate. Um, Solo 401k is when you want to, again, self-direct your money, but then the word solo means you can't have anyone else on the plan, in the plan. And so um, I'm not the one who tells you what to invest in, but I work with financial advisors who can really help you put together the plan. My job is to give you the tax plan and tell you, hey, maybe from the tax plan we can save you $30,000, and you can use this money to invest in whatever plan you want to invest in. We can explore those options as well.
Yeah, it's great to even get some sort of starting point, based on what you should do.
Mhm. And then what I've realized is a lot of people, some people want to diversify their portfolio, a lot of people don't. In real estate, everybody want to just invest in real estate,
Yeah.
which I do think that it's great, because I'm 100% supportive of real estate. I think it's great, but think about diversification as well. In case one thing goes down, you still have the other buckets.
It's tough because at least with the internet and technology, you hear so many different opinions about, don't diversify. You want to stick to what you know, and then someone else will tell you you want to diversify, right? Don't keep all your eggs in one basket.
Mhm. And again, that's why we need to have a conversation with people to understand exactly what they want, what their goals are, what their exit plans are, so that we can help them plan accordingly. Um, for me, I like diversification, but what some of my clients don't, right? And so maybe diversification means instead of investing in just single family homes, maybe you should invest in, multifamily, or maybe some index funds, real estate index funds, right? And so you can still invest in real estate, but diversify your portfolio. Could be an option as well. I just don't want to tell you something that before I know about your particular needs and your situation.
Yeah, absolutely. You transition in something interesting as well is multifamily. Um,
Hmm.
and I know there are services that will, do cost segregation.
Hmm.
Would a CPA be able to help with cost segregation, or do you have to go to a specific company who specializes in that?
Yeah, I would refer you to the engineering firm that specializes in doing that, because they have all the tools that can help you. We can do it as well. We can give you different options, but I do think the engineering firm, if you want something that is done by the engineers and you have all the comms and you have the study available to you, then you can go to the engineering firm and we can just help you kind of facilitate the process. Um, and so, yeah.
Okay, for those of us who aren't familiar with it, could you kind of explain, what cost segregation is?
Yeah, it means that if you it's and you can't, a lot of people think you can only do cost segregation with multifamily properties. You can actually do it with single family properties as well. It means that instead of depreciating the property over 27 and a half years or 30 years, you kind of accelerate the depreciation. So you shorten the depreciation life, and in return you get a higher deduction in the earlier years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, could you kind of, I guess maybe it's a bit self-explanatory, but could you kind of explain what depreciation is?
Oh, depreciation. Okay. Let me think. How can I explain it? I know the accounting term, but like, how do I explain it to everybody can understand? So when you buy a property, let's say the property has the cost basis of $100,000. Now, if you don't do depreciation, then you cannot write off the basis for your tax in your tax return for tax purposes. But let's say if you want to depreciate the property, then you divide. Normally, if you just use a normal method of depreciation, then you divide the $100,000 basis by 27.5 years. And so that amount every single year, you can write it off on your tax return as an expense, depreciation expense. And so it's an additional write-off for you. If you do a cost segregation, maybe instead of depreciating the property over 27.5 years, you depreciate it over 5 years. And I'm just telling you an example. And so instead of a few $1,000s a year, it's actually $20,000 a year. So you kind of make it faster. You can write off more in the earlier years, which is really good for you because you can write off more in your tax returns, right? You don't want to have to wait for 27 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious as well, that 27.5 years, is that set by the IRS and that's their schedule, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's set by the IRS. It's just a number of years you can depreciate the residential property for.
Okay, very good. Another thing that I'm sure, people that are listening are interested in is, taxes in the future. And there have been a lot of talks, at least in the real estate community, with the new administration, new potential changes to the tax code. Do you foresee that happening in the near future?
I wish I know, but I don't think I'm, even if I'm in the Congress, I don't think I know 100%. It might happen in the future, it might not. But then what we do for our client is we have a tax software that builds, the projection, the future projection in our model. And so if you are, for example, if you're my tax plan client, then I can build the tax projection for you, given the current tax law, and then the projection based on the changes in tax law, just predicting what's going to happen. And so we can give you the projections based on different scenarios, and then you will see what works best for you. And I think it's we might just have to wait and see what happens. I do think tax law will change, but just a matter of time. But how it's going to change and to what extent, I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I wish I had a crystal ball, right?
Yeah, to predict, but I don't think I can.
Yeah, no, of course. And one thing I also thought of, at least what I've kind of been hearing, is potential changes to 1031 exchanges. Could you kind of, from a CPA's perspective, could you explain what a 1031 exchange is?
Yeah, mainly if you want to sell a property and then you do not want to pay capital gain on sale of the property, you can actually exchange it for a like-kind property. And then you can, you don't have to pay capital gain taxes on that. It's like you get a new property and then you can get rid of the old one and you don't have to pay any taxes. And so it's like you get a new dress, that's nicer. You have to pay the price, but you have to identify the property within 180 days. So it's kind of hard to find something that you like within that short of a time frame.
Okay, so when you say it was like kind, right? Or what was the term you used? Like kind, right? So, if I had a commercial building, could I get a few different units of multifamily, or how would that look?
You can exchange commercial for commercial, but I don't think you can exchange residential for commercial, or you cannot exchange I don't think you can exchange land for a commercial building. It has to be pretty similar, the same type of property.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, I know we've talked a bit about your background, a bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis, different services you offer. What are you looking forward to in the future?
I just look forward to maybe hiring a few more team members for my team this year, getting more clients, helping more people, and then get through COVID. I don't want to get COVID, but a few team members of mine got COVID, so it's pretty sad. Everybody recover though, so I want to get through this year and see what's going on, what's happening next. So I know we can't predict the future, but in a sense, I'm the person of goals, right? So I always try to set goals, but then also I want to live in the moment and enjoy the moment as well. Because we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. So why not just enjoy your work, enjoy your life, and yeah, and just see how it goes.
Right. It sounds like it's kind of finding that happy medium between planning, but yet still enjoying yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is there anything that you haven't said that you'd really just like to speak about?
Um, I think that you covered everything. You asked very good questions. Now I do offer a free 30-minute consulting session to anyone that listens to this podcast, and I can give you my calendar link in my email and my website, so people can visit my website and book a meeting if they need to. But I think you asked really good questions, and you pretty much covered everything I wanna talk about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it's always great, being with a financial professional, especially now with potential changes in the economy, with COVID, all these different things going on. This was terrific because people really want to hear it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to this podcast, and I hope to be able to join you pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Mia. So for those of us who want to get in contact with you, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna send you the link to my website, and so it's just reevesaccountingservices.com, and then I have my calendar link, which I'll give to you, and then they can email me at mia.n@reevesaccountingservices.com. You have my email address as well, so you can give to people.
Yep, absolutely, Mia. Well, it's been a real pleasure. We've talked a bit about you, about your background, about what you do, services that you offer to people in the real estate industry. And I learned a heck of a lot about taxes and what you do. So it's been terrific.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks, Aaron.